President Trump enacting sweeping new tariffs on steel and aluminum, 25%. Europeans are retaliating in a major way. And the huge concern is American consumers who are caught in the middle of all this and could soon be paying the price literally.
Tariffs are a tax. It's a tax on imports to which we have given historically a particular name, tariff. But it's a tax.
From the outside, President Donald Trump's approach to trade seemed like a bold, unapologetic declaration. A promise to make America rich by harnessing what he calls the most beautiful word in the dictionary, tariffs. Yet beneath these grand promises and resounding declarations, subtle cracks in the policy's foundation have begun to emerge. As Trump reintroduces aggressive tariffs against key trading partners, many wonder, will these measures truly deliver prosperity, or are they paving the way for unforeseen consequences? Join us as we peel back the layers of this high-stakes economic battle, exploring the lofty goals, the intricate mechanisms, and the potential fallout that could determine whether this gamble enriches America or backfires on everyday citizens.
Something has changed. He keeps thinking that he can hit other countries with a tariff. No, you hit us with the tariff. We have to pay it. It means we will have to pay more for everything you attach a tariff to.
Before diving into the complexities of today's trade conflict, it's essential to understand what tariffs are and why they matter. Tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods, designed to make foreign products more expensive and encourage consumers to buy American-made items. This protective measure is meant to shield domestic industries from unfair competition and help correct persistent trade imbalances. During his recent term, President Trump reactivated a sweeping tariff policy aimed at some of the United States' most important trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and China. With duties as high as 25% on many imports and adjustments on others, this strategy is intended to revive domestic manufacturing and restore American jobs. Trump's rationale is steeped in a sense of national pride and economic urgency. He argues that decades of globalization have left American industries vulnerable, and that bold protectionist measures are needed to reclaim the nation's economic destiny. Yet, while the theory is straightforward, the practical consequences are anything but simple. The imposition of tariffs ripples through the economy, raising consumer prices, disrupting global supply chains, and triggering international backlash. As we explore this policy in depth, we will examine not only the promise of economic resurgence, but also the risks and trade-offs that come with such a high-stakes strategy. Setting the stage, policy overview. Central to Trump's trade strategy is a series of aggressive tariffs implemented under the authority of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA.
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary. Because tariffs are going to make us rich as hell. It's going to bring our country's businesses back that left us.
Nearly all imports from Canada and Mexico now face a 25% duty, with Canadian energy products receiving a reduced rate of 10%.
The president will be implementing tomorrow a 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada, and a 10% tariff on China for the illegal fentanyl that they have sourced and allowed to distribute into our country.
Additionally, a broad range of Chinese goods are subject to tariffs of 10% or more. These measures are designed to force a rebalancing in global trade dynamics, encouraging companies to bring production back to U.S. soil while punishing what Trump views as unfair trade practices.
If the president does choose to implement any tariffs against Canada, we're ready with a response, a purposeful, forceful, but reasonable, immediate response.
This strategy is presented as a remedy for long-standing trade deficits and as a way to protect American jobs. In Trump's view, each tariff imposed is a declaration of independence from a global system that has, in his opinion, taken advantage of the United States for too long. However, while the intended effect is to empower domestic industry, the extra cost imposed on imported goods may also lead to higher prices for consumers and ripple throughout the economy. The rationale behind the tariffs. At its core, Trump's tariff war is an attempt to recalibrate the balance of trade by protecting American manufacturing. The president believes that decades of trade deficits and offshoring have weakened the backbone of U.S. industry. By imposing steep tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, he aims to force a shift, urging foreign suppliers and U.S. companies alike to reconsider where and how products are made.
Our country had to do this. We had to go and do this. They've taken away our business. They've taken away our jobs. I did it initially very strongly against, as you know, China and some others in the first term.
Trump contends that these tariffs address more than just economic imbalances. They serve national security interests as well. He has argued that by curbing the influx of certain goods, including those linked to illicit activities like the smuggling of dangerous drugs such as fentanyl, the tariffs can help secure American borders. This dual purpose, economic and security related, is central to his argument, positioning tariffs as both a shield and a sword in the fight for American prosperity. In Trump's own words, tariffs are a means to bring back our jobs and reinvigorate a manufacturing sector that he claims has been systematically undermined by globalization.
Because tariffs are going to make us rich as hell. It's going to bring our country's businesses back that left us.
He envisions a future where American factories buzz with renewed activity, where the lost art of domestic production is revived, and where the nation's wealth is once again restored. His rhetoric paints a picture of economic revival so compelling that he has called tariffs the most beautiful word in the dictionary.
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
Impact on the U.S. economy, benefits and drawbacks. The promise of tariffs is enticing. By making imported goods more expensive, domestic products should, in theory, become more competitive. This shift is expected to spur job creation and increase domestic production. However, tariffs also function as a tax on imported goods, and this cost is usually passed on to American consumers. As a result, everyday products, from electronics to automobiles and even staple groceries, could see price hikes that strain household budgets and reduce overall consumer spending. Moreover, the ripple effects extend to the intricate web of global supply chains. Many U.S. industries operate on a finely tuned network where components and raw materials move across borders multiple times. The added expense of tariffs disrupts these efficient processes, causing delays and increasing production costs. For sectors such as automotive manufacturing and agriculture, these disruptions can be particularly damaging, potentially diminishing competitiveness and slowing economic growth. While some sectors might benefit in the short term, the broader implications suggest that the intended revival of American manufacturing could be offset by higher costs and reduced consumer purchasing power, a trade-off that may ultimately hamper economic prosperity. Retaliatory measures, international responses. Trump's tariff strategy has ignited swift responses from America's trading partners. Canada, one of the largest sources of U.S. imports, has retaliated by imposing equivalent tariffs on key U.S. exports. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau remarked, "These tariffs are an attack on our shared prosperity."
Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Emphasizing that such measures threaten long-standing economic ties and could destabilize their national economy.
Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between.
Similarly, Mexico has moved decisively. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum declared, "We will not stand by while our economy is undermined. Our response will be firm and targeted," as her administration announced retaliatory tariffs affecting critical sectors like agriculture and automotive components. These measures are designed to force a rethinking of cross-border trade relationships and highlight the potential for a broader, escalating trade conflict. On the other side of the Pacific, China, already entrenched in a prolonged trade dispute, faces additional tariffs that further strain its already fraught relationship with the United States. Although Chinese manufacturers are adapting by shifting production to other regions, the cumulative impact of these tariffs continues to sow uncertainty in global markets, underscoring the high stakes of this economic confrontation. Political and global implications. Trump's tariff war is as much a political statement as it is an economic policy. Domestically, the strategy has deepened partisan divides. Supporters applaud the tariffs as a bold move to restore American industry and protect jobs, while critics decry the policy as a reckless gamble that risks higher consumer prices and potential economic instability. The debate is fierce, one that pits patriotic ambition against the practical challenges of modern commerce. Internationally, The aggressive tariff measures have unsettled traditional trade relationships and provoked strong retaliatory actions from key allies. The unfolding drama has raised the specter of a fragmented global trading system, where the pillars of free trade and economic cooperation are replaced by protectionist policies and tit-for-tat measures. The resulting uncertainty could force multinational companies to radically reconfigure their supply chains, further impacting global competitiveness and market stability. Trump's vision, the beauty of tariffs. Amid these turbulent debates, Trump's admiration for tariffs remains unwavering. In his characteristic style, he has repeatedly declared that tariffs is the most beautiful word in the dictionary, a phrase that embodies his vision of an America reborn. For him, each tariff is a beacon of national pride, a tool to restore American dominance in manufacturing and secure a prosperous future. He envisions a robust domestic industry where jobs return home, production surges, and the country's economic fortunes are revived. Yet, while this vision is both grand and galvanizing, it must contend with the gritty realities of a global economy. The lofty promises of tariff-induced prosperity are shadowed by increased costs for consumers, disrupted supply chains, and the potential for widespread international retaliation. Trump's rhetoric inspires hope, but the road ahead is fraught with uncertainty. Negative impacts, the cost to everyday Americans. For ordinary citizens, the impact of the tariff war is felt in every corner of daily life. When tariffs act as an added tax on imports, the cost of everything from smartphones to staple groceries inevitably rises. Families see their budgets strained as higher prices squeeze their spending power, and the promise of renewed manufacturing is counterbalanced by the immediate pain of inflation. Small businesses, often the lifeblood of local economies, are also vulnerable. Disruptions in global supply chains lead to delays, higher operational costs, and reduced flexibility. In regions where international trade is a critical economic driver, the cumulative effect may be a slowdown in growth, an ironic twist for a policy meant to stimulate the economy. This human cost is not an abstract number, but a tangible reality that impacts millions of households. For those already struggling with rising expenses, the tariffs represent an additional burden, challenging the very notion that protectionist measures will lead to universal prosperity. Looking ahead, possible outcomes. The future of Trump's tariff war remains uncertain, with several potential scenarios on the horizon. One possible outcome is that intense diplomatic negotiations could lead to a de-escalation of tensions. If the U.S. and its trading partners, bolstered by conciliatory measures such as enhanced border security and revised trade agreements, reach a compromise, tariffs might gradually be rolled back, ushering in a period of restored global cooperation. Alternatively, if retaliatory measures from Canada, Mexico, and China intensify, the trade war could escalate into a prolonged conflict. This scenario would likely result in further disruptions to supply chains, significant increases in consumer prices, and a potential slowdown in economic growth that could mirror historical protectionist episodes. A third possibility is that the U.S. economy might face stagflation, a stagnant growth rate combined with rising inflation. Such an outcome would pose immense challenges for policymakers, as efforts to stimulate growth could exacerbate inflationary pressures, leaving consumers and businesses caught in a vicious cycle. In any case, the ultimate impact of these tariffs will depend on a delicate balance of domestic policy adjustments, international negotiations, and market responses. The stakes are high, and the consequences will be felt for years to come. Trump's tariff war is a multifaceted policy that encapsulates the tensions between protectionism and free trade, national pride and consumer burden. At its core, the strategy is a high-stakes gamble, a bold effort to restore American manufacturing and economic dominance by taxing foreign imports. While the theoretical benefits include job creation and reduced trade deficits, the practical outcomes are more complex. Increased prices, supply chain disruptions, and retaliatory tariffs from trading partners paint a picture of an economy at risk of significant upheaval. This conflict forces us to confront a critical question. Can aggressive protectionist measures, even when fueled by patriotic rhetoric and grand promises, truly lead to sustained economic prosperity? Or do they risk triggering a cascade of unintended consequences that ultimately hurt the very people they are meant to help. As we weigh the promise of renewed domestic industry against the immediate challenges faced by consumers and businesses alike, it becomes clear that the path to economic revival is anything but straightforward. In reflecting on Trump's approach, we see that while his admiration for tariffs is rooted in a vision of American resurgence, the reality of global commerce is far more intricate. The interplay of domestic policy, international relations, and market dynamics creates a scenario where every measure has its price, a price that may not always be worth paying. From Trump's impassioned declaration that tariffs is the most beautiful word in the dictionary to the tangible challenges faced by everyday Americans, his tariff war is a dramatic, high-risk strategy that could redefine the nation's economic future. The policy promises to protect domestic industries, create jobs, and restore national pride. Yet the potential fallout, rising consumer prices, disrupted supply chains, and a cascade of international retaliatory measures, raises serious questions about its long-term viability. As we ponder the future of American trade, we invite you to share your thoughts. Will Trump's tariff strategy ultimately lead to a renaissance in domestic manufacturing and economic prosperity? Or is it a high-stakes gamble destined to backfire? Drop your comments below and join the conversation on this contentious issue. If you found this deep dive into the real reasons behind Trump's tariff war both engaging and insightful, please hit the like button, subscribe for more in-depth analyses of the policies shaping our world, and share this video with anyone curious about the future of global trade. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember that even the most beautiful words can carry the heaviest burdens.